Well, movie fans just got some head-spinning news that is likely to provoke the opposite of green barf shooting out of their mouths. That's right, Scarlett Johansson is going to be in the new Exorcist film. Sources are saying Colin Jost has already told his wife that the stairs in their apartment are for walking down normally, not doing an upside-down crab walk. Now, Amy, why don't you get down off the ceiling and let us know your thoughts on this huge movie news?
I thought that the last one was a huge flop.
It's reboot time for the Exorcist films. David Gordon Green, who I love, I think he's an amazing filmmaker. Unfortunately, his vision was not realized by the audience or whatever. He made one film, and I think it was too terrible. Everyone agreed. Jason Blum was like, he goes, oh my God, this sucks so bad. And so they decided to scrap that vision, that trilogy, whatever David Gordon Green's vision was. And now Mike Flanagan, one of the most respected horror filmmakers in the world, is going to put his little paws all over this thing with ScarJo as the lead.
Remind me his oeuvre.
Mike Flanagan, he started on those Netflix shows called Haunting of Hill House. Then he became sort of the vessel for all Stephen King adaptations. He's like the most sanctioned Stephen King adapter now.
Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep, wonderful. I think he's amazing. I think he's great. He's doing a Carrie series, I think, for Amazon. He's kind of like, he's the most in-demand filmmaker in the world, and I guess they want him now to tackle the Exorcist for a new
generation,
new iteration of it. But
is it a reboot of the original first one, or is it totally different?
Michael Flanagan, people asked him that, and he goes, no. He goes, don't you dare say that. No, they're not calling this anything like a term that we've ever heard before. I think that they want this to be not a reboot. It's not a sequel. It's going to be, they're going to, people have sort of gravitated away from those like words. I think reboot has such a bad connotation that it's probably going to take place in the Exorcist universe, and for sure Pazuzu will probably pop his little head out. It'll be in the lore of it, but it'll be an entirely new story. But I think that, for me, we've talked about this, but Scarlett Johansson, I like her. Mike Flanagan, and I like the Exorcist universe. Yeah. I think it's a little bit untapped. If you're gonna only do a bunch of IP shit and then we never get new movies, at least play in this Exorcist IP. I think there's a lot of fruitful ground in there.
I hope they slip a little your mother sucks cocks in hell in there. My favorite line.
I know, and that's why I was thinking about you when I read this news. I was like, Amy loves that line. So I hope so too. And I hope that, I don't even know if Scarlett Johansson is going to be the one inflicted with a demon, or if she's going to be the one who's suffering through someone else having a demonic presence within them. All I know is that I love Exorcist 1 and I love Exorcist 3.
Friedkin rolling in his grave. He's like, I wish I had one more stab at it.
He does. He's said so many times. He goes, I wish I had one more stab at it. I was just watching, he was a tyrant on the set of Exorcist. He's one of the most evil filmmakers we have. He was basically possessed by a demon.
Flinging Ellen Burstyn against the wall.
Breaking Ellen Burstyn's back. Doing a bunch of horrible shit. Freezing the cast in a little freezer so their breath would look icy.
Was it worth it?
Oh, shit.
That and The Shining.
I don't think so. No, I agree that no human beings or flies or animals should be hurt for the making of our entertainment. I'm glad we've moved away from that. Billy Friedkin, I love him so much, but he was a monster to everyone around him. Just a horrible, horrible person. You got to read, what's that book that I love about the motorcycle, Easy Riders and Raging Bulls. That's the fucking best book in the world. It's so cool. He's got the scoop on all of these new Hollywood directors, and they're all the worst people you've ever met.
I read Cher's book, part 1, and he directed Sonny and Cher's first little shithole movie. Whoa. It's called like Sonny and Cher Go to the Circus or something.
Billy Friedkin directed the first Sonny and Cher Go to the Circus film?
Hold on, William Friedkin. I think I'm right. Hold on, because they were just friends with him. Oh, it's called Good Times, 1967. It has 4.5 stars on IMDb. Roger Ebert, 2.5.
Oh, he didn't like it.
And I think there's like live animals in it. It just looks really goofy. because Sonny was like, Cher, I think we should do movies. And I think it was a precursor to even their show, if I'm remembering correctly. So
That's wow. Well, it's amazing. The filmography of Billy Friedkin to go from that. Everyone has these sort of debuts where you're like, what the hell is going on? But Sonny or Cher, they must have really seen something in Billy, or someone saw something in him, because he got to the heights of cinema.
He's made a lot of good movies.
Yeah, Sorcerer, Exorcist 1,
To Live and Die in L.A.
To Live and Die in L.A. So
Bug.
Bug.
We love Bug.
Tracy
Don't we,
Letts.
folks?
We love Bug. Famously, people don't know Tracy Letts. Tracy Letts, you think he's just that guy in Little Women who's the publisher who's kind of being a stinker to Saoirse Ronan, but instead he's this award-winning playwright. He's married to Carrie Coon, and he writes these plays where you're like, what the fuck is going on with Tracy Letts?
He's nuts.
Writing this weird... He's nuts. He's nuts. What the hell is this guy thinking? Bug? Two people...
August Osage County?
August Osage County. This guy, Tracy Letts, you think he's just some character actor in Ferrari vs. Ford. Did you ever see that?
I love that movie.
That film. You do?
It's so fun. It's a capital M movie.
Total movie. He plays the titular Ford, and he's trying to beat Ferrari for all it's worth. He's like, I hate this.
He's like,
He goes, what did that Ferrari guy say about me? Make the fastest car in the world, Matt Damon.
Ford versus Ferrari greater than Ferrari.
Really? Holy shit. I haven't seen Ferrari, but my taste meter would be leaning towards the Michael Mann, but I trust you, I trust you that Michael Mann might have been,
he cast Shailene Woodley as an Italian woman. That's all you need to know.
Okay. I forgot. Okay. Yep. I think you're right. Ford versus Ferrari. I don't know if we want to talk about this for very long, but I didn't really, I liked Ford versus Ferrari. I'm kind of those
Mangold. Who's that?
I like, Mangold's okay. I like, he's sort of responsible for Walk the Line, A Complete Unknown, Ford vs. Ferrari. He's a very capable filmmaker. I don't know if he's got the story on his mind as much, but I think the Ford vs. Ferrari ending was a little deflating, so to speak. No pun intended, deflating a tire, but it's like Christian Bale. Well, okay, no spoilers for Ford vs. Ferrari, but it was one of those rare instances where the story, the real life facts of the story don't make for a good movie, I felt. But the racing scenes in it, I mean, don't get me started. It's some wonderful car stuff.
LA filming.
Oh, I forgot. Oh my God. You're right. I forgot about that. So all this to say, so many directors have made so many great films, and I'm really excited to see what Mike Flanagan will do in this Exorcist playground. Do you like Exorcist 1?
Yes.
Me too.
One of my faves.
It's so cool. I like how long it takes for them to diagnose what the hell's going on. They're like,
that's real.
Yeah, they're like, first, let's just see if it was just you being sick for a second and you're just going to get better.
When she pisses herself
in
the party.
It's like everyone has a bad day. It's like she's never done that before, but...
she starts to be like, "Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and then
fuck you.
Yeah, and then they're like, okay, she doesn't curse very often or pee like that in front of dinner guests, but I think she could be okay. And then the crab walk upside down the stairs.
Yeah,
You're kind
it goes awry when she penetrates herself with a cross until bloodied.
That's when you say,
we got to draw the line.
Yeah, it's a classic. They go to the therapist. The therapist's like, yeah, no, it's, I think we'll figure this one out. And then the doctor, and they're like, no, there's no MRI. We can't see anything on this.
Ugh, they do like horrible. Yeah. Any hospital scene pre 1990 is a horror show.
Yeah,
I think she gets like a spinal tap. She's getting what are these machines? They've been outdated.
They have these big metal tubes that just start to shake you, and you're in them, and they kind of shake you around like you're a cocktail. It's like, what the hell was going on in the 70s?
Poor Reagan. But I like when she finally has the round table with like the best scientists in the world, and they're finally like, I think you need to go take the spiritual route. And you're like, that's when you know you're fucked.
Yeah. Could you imagine? You're like, surely these scientists will get it figured out. And they're like, no, you need to call Father, whatever, I forget. Caracas.
Blatty. Well, no, that's the writer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, this just goes to say that this is such fruitful IP. Excited for someone
Yeah.
to take a second stab at
Get
it.
ready. We're probably going to have more conversations like this as we head into the awards season. I'm going to be seeing more movies than ever before. My AMC A-list is going to be on fuego.
Well, I can't wait. Normally I'm a person who was like, oh, they save the only movies worth seeing for November and December and little blips in the summer for summer blockbusters. What's on the docket post everything that we've already seen? What's the December Oscar stuff that's
There's
coming
some
up?
like Netflix shit that, since
Kelly.
we're in LA, we'll be able to see in theaters if you want. Like at the Egyptian or the Vista or here and there. But yeah, Jake Kelly. I still have to see that Catherine Bigelow House of Dynamite movie. Train Dreams. I saw Sentimental Value the other day. What else? There's Hamnet. Is it going to be a big one?
Hamnet. Okay. All right. The origin, I love the idea of that. It's Shakespeare and he's suffering, I think, and he's like, I'm gonna write Hamlet because I think he's grieving. I don't want to spoil it, but
yeah, it's apparently very heartbreaking. And then I don't know, I'll see that Dead Man's Shut Up Dead Man, whatever it's called.
Shut Up. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Shut Up Dead Man. I'm
actually seeing it next week.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. Well, we got a treasure trove of movies coming up, and I can't wait. Speaking of treasure trove, the early reviews for Zootopia 2 are in.
Oh, I just saw a tweet that said it's a banger.
Yeah. Was that Sean Fennessy from The Big Picture? Yeah, that's where I got my news from. I trust Sean Fennessy for the most part. And he said, you will never believe the kind of shit that goes down in Zootopia 2. So it made me think of those Summer House boys.
I know. Wes Wilson should be invited to the premiere. I hope he goes.
He got Zootopia kind of on the map when they all watched it outside in Summer House last season.
It's true. All right. Well, that was the movie minute. What else? Was there a Bravo-centric news item today?
Shit. Yes, there was. This is sort of old news, but who cares? Jen Shah is coming out on December 10th. As of this recording, I don't know what day it is, but when this comes out, it'll be the 26th, which means that Jen Shah is right now looking outside of her 2 weeks, and she's going to be released into the world again. And
wild.
Could you imagine? I mean, I don't think Bravo or Salt Lake City are going to do anything with Jen Shah. I think that she's going to have sort of screaming to the winds period of a month. And a lot of outlets are obviously going to be wanting to interview her and get as many sound bites and stuff. But my prediction is that this is going to be like a month or 2 months of Jen Shah fever. Everyone being like, oh my God, it's just so crazy. And then it's going to die down completely because Jen Shah to me was never very engaging or fun as a Bravo celebrity. And so I think that once the newness of her being out dissipates, people are just going to forget about Jen Shah and not really care anymore.
Do you think she's in too much deep shit with the powers that be that she couldn't even be on Traitors?
Oh, yeah, she could be in a bunch of those.
House of Villains. And then definitely Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, she could be, she could do the sort of B-tier circuit for sure. Do you think she's going to be on Dancing with the Stars?
Why not?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
They had Anna Delvey on. I mean, I guess her crimes were less fucked up, but Jen Shah's more famous than Anna Delvey.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. I think that I want Bravo to stick to their guns and Andy Cohen to stick to his guns, to not force Jen Shah onto the cast members of Salt Lake City. They didn't need Jen Shah. The show actually got better without her, which is remarkable. And so I don't think that Bravo should sanction a comeback for her. Let the bloggers and all that kind of shit just run its course, and then Jen Shah will be, she'll be on Dancing with the Stars next year.
Yeah, maybe someone on Salt Lake can have lunch with her one time or something just to get a little ratings boost, but not necessary.
I agree. Completely. Speaking of dissipating into the wind, Jenna Lyons made an announcement saying that she's not going to be returning to RHONY ever again. I think that this was expected as well. She says that she was offered a friend of contract, possibly, to be on the next iteration, maybe as a sort of a bridge season to show that not much has changed, but we have 3 or 4 new cast members. But Jenna Lyons said, no, I don't want to do that. So I am saying goodbye to the Bravo universe. And she said, thank you to my friends who were with me every step of the way. And she tagged almost everyone except Brynn,
Wow.
which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. So I wonder what the actual line in the sand was. If, she didn't want to do it full time. They said you could do it part time. And then, was she just like, it's not worth it to be involved at all? Or, but that does make it sound like we are dealing with original cast for the new season if they gave her a full offer.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere, we'll never know. And Andy said it was filming now, which I'm like, where is the news about it? But I think it's the 3 cast members we assumed, plus 4 new cast members. So it's a hybrid reboot, acknowledging that there were some failures here, but not fully acknowledging that it needs to be retooled entirely. And I don't even really know if Jenna Lyons could possibly be getting the grace that Bravo gives every exiting cast member by letting her say whatever the hell she wants. But, I just think personally the entire Jenna Lyons era of RHONY was a complete flop.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I didn't know her going into it, so I didn't even have the allure of knowing that she was this powerhouse from J. Crew. I was just judging her as any other cast member, and I can't think of one iconic moment that Jenna Lyons was responsible for in her entire 2 seasons.
No, I saw that on her post. She did a big goodbye post, and Andy commented a tearful emoji. And I'm like, damn, he really wanted that to be the thing, and it was not delivering,
Yeah, it didn't work for anybody. And also, in Jenna Lyons' defense, I don't think that she enjoyed it very much either. She didn't want to share anything on it. She treated it like it was an outlet for her to show off her different
eyelash
line. And so this is good. People can fake and say oh my God, the end of a wonderful era, what we've lost, but this is no big loss for anybody.
No, I also saw that Leah McSweeney posted on Instagram. She hasn't been a housewife now for how many years? It's been a while.
It really has.
And she posted all these sexy photos, and the caption is, just a baddie that ruined your favorite franchise. It's like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it's not something that I would be proud of, and I guess it's sort of winking at, maybe is she being real, or is she, I don't know, but the fact that Leah McSweeney is still talking about Bravo and her Real Housewives legacy is rough. I mean, again, that's kind of the exact same point I would have with Jenna Lyons. When I was watching RHONY in real time, I was like, Leah McSweeney is awful on this show. I mean, horrendous. This is one of the worst casting decisions. And then it ended up being 100 times worse of a casting decision than I could ever imagine, because she decided to be like a wrecking ball for the Bravo universe for years after. And I'm not even saying that any of her allegations might not be true, but I'm just saying no matter what, this was a bad fit for both of them. This is
Remember
a nightmare.
When Bethany tried to take the mantle of the reality reckoning and then just totally abandoned it, and then she was on The Town and he eviscerated her because he knows legal speak and she doesn't, and she usually can has the gift of a silver tongue and can just talk her way out of anything. But then Matt Bellany would be like, wait, but that's not a thing you can do. What do you mean? How are you going to do this? That doesn't make sense. Have you thought this through? And she was like, well,
I don't think I ever listened to her interview on The Town.
I think if I'm correct, I may have listened to it on the way to the last BravoCon.
Well, all right. Well, I need to go back. No, but I mean, the point stands that I think that that's also the furthest thing from Bethany's mind too. I mean, she really
she's eating supermodel snacks on her TikTok. She's actually doing a cleanse right now. She's only juicing. She's real on again, off again real healthy relationship with the way she talks about food. But speaking of Matt Bellany, I just want to say you sent me a clip, and I'm gearing up. I'm saving it for when I can really focus. There's a 2-part Jim Cameron, The Town episode where he rips Netflix a new asshole, which nothing makes me happier. That's literally my just champagne and caviar to me. I love when people, especially someone as powerful as him, go, all of Netflix is a scam.
Yeah.
It's not for filmmakers. They lie.
Yeah, he was like, Ted Sarandos is lying. He's like, if we buy Warner Brothers, we'll give everything a theatrical release. And then he's winking at the camera. He goes, I don't believe you for 1 second, Ted Sarandos. Yeah, it's great. Goes James
First the Pope.
Yeah.
Now Jim.
Yeah, because he's powerful enough. He doesn't give a shit. I like that. I started listening to it. I think it's great. Matthew Bellany got a huge piece in the New York Times talking about how everyone respects him and how he's like the leading figure of industry journalism and stuff, which I really appreciated. And yeah, I think that's a wonderful start to an interview. I haven't finished it yet, but
yeah,
great.
I'm very excited. So yes.
Okay. And then lastly, let's say we got some bad news and some good news in the Bravo universe. Bad news. We haven't talked about this yet, but everybody who will be listening to this knows this already. But Kandi and Todd Burris have separated. Everyone has probably already sort of internalized that. They have their feelings about it, but we have never really talked about it on Turtle Time yet. So I just thought that we should acknowledge that that's a sad update, but it seems like it's about as amicable as it could ever be between them so far.
You think that?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I say things sometimes and then have to think about it. But
there's not very much information. She doesn't really say much about him in her statement, actually.
It just seems like it's very treated, or it's being handled very well in terms. We don't know what the cause for the split was in a PR way. It's the information is being.
She didn't throw him under the bus immediately.
Yeah, no, and it was like timed. The release was coincided perfectly with post BravoCon so that she wouldn't have to talk about it. Seems like this was for months or maybe even years that they were discussing this. She didn't have her ring on for an extended period of time, and she says we've made this decision mutually, and we're going to do this. And I kind of, knowing Todd and Kandi, they are the two people that I think, wouldn't possibly have some scandalous reason for the dissolution of their marriage. I would think that they would be two people that could just sort out their terms and agree on how they're going to deal with this divorce. But then, obviously, maybe when this comes out, we'll hear some explosive shocking news.
Kandi will have her money buttoned up. I think on their wedding special, there was prenup talk and that they almost didn't get married because he didn't want to or something. Do you remember that?
Sorry, not really, to be honest.
What was it was called Kandi's getting married. Burris wedding special. I watched, she has the most, that's why she gets that Real Housewife, what's the word called? Real Housewife of the Century? Lifetime achievement.
Lifetime achievement award.
Yeah. She has more spinoffs than anyone. I think I can say that confidently. She's had 7 shows, and one of which was Kandi's wedding. And I think I remember there being prenup drama. I mean, I was literally just talking about it was a scheme that Todd hatched up, or whatever the quote is. I think it was Mama Joyce's birthday, the week that she announced it. And I'm like, not Mama Joyce rejoicing.
I know. That's what I thought too. I was I was bummed out personally that Mama Joyce got to win.
I know.
She treated Todd like such shit. She treats, no offense, but she treats Kandi like shit sometimes. And so I never really enjoyed the Mama Joyce and the old lady gang, how they treated Todd and Kandi's marriage. So I don't want to win for them, but I know that Kandi obviously is the one who really has thought about this. And they put in 11 years or almost 14 years together. And so that's still a win, and they have 2 children together, and They did for the right reasons, but very sad. Okay, good news next. This is just as huge as Kandi and Todd breaking up. Gia Giudice and Sean Johnson 2 weeks ago, or whenever this happened, won Special Forces. Did you see this news?
I did not. they both. Oh yeah, I guess last time 2 people won. Multiple people can win.
I don't know. Yes, I think so. The 2 people did definitely win, and I got to watch the final 10 minutes. It was pretty awesome. It reminded me of all the times you were telling me about the Sandoval stuff that he was doing, but they had 2 coffins in the sand. Those sort of cartoonish coffins where it has the head part and then it has and they were a bunch of spiders and bugs and worms. And then that one guy goes, you both are scum. It's time to see the light. And then he opens their caskets or whatever with a big crowbar, and he goes, are you in the military? And Sean Johnson
That's a good
goes,
impression. It sounds just like him.
Goes, no, sir. And then he goes, Gia, are you in the military? And she goes, no, sir. And he goes, all right, it's time for your final test. And they get out of the graves or whatever, and then they put them in, I think, hoods or whatever, and lead them to a spot. And they pretend like they're going to do one final test on them, but then they go, you two just won special forces together. And it's pretty shocking and beautiful. And it made me, I'm definitely going to go back because I want to see how Gia Giudice pulled this shit off over everyone. Her and Shawn Johnson. I don't know who Shawn Johnson is. No,
she's an Olympian.
Oh, okay. Well, they go, Gia, they go, you were kind of shitty in the beginning, but you got much better. Mom. Yeah, your mom was here. And then he goes, but Shawn Johnson, you were pretty good the whole time. And it was just, and then they get sweet. I love when interrogators break you, and then they go, oh, just kidding, you're my pals, get over here. And then they turn on the full charm, and it's like hugging, and they go, take that mask off and get that bug out of your mouth. And then it was just a sweet celebratory moment. So huge congrats to Gia. Gia Giudice better go into Next Gen NYC being like, fuck all of you.
Seriously, damn.
Just was special forces. I was the champion of special forces.
They both, because I watched the first couple episodes, Gia was there with her mom, and I think Shawn Johnson was there with her husband, who is like a either football or basketball player. So they both they beat the person that they came with.
So cool. Oh my God. I have to see, because it was like hearing about the ending to a book where you're like, oh my God, I have to see how that happened. And so congrats to Gia. I would have never in a million years, not to say that I discounted Gia in any way, but that is just not what I imagined happening. And that is amazing. She beat the shit out of Brittany, Cartwright. Were there any
Brittany.
other Bravo celebrities? Teresa.
Yeah.
No,
Jussie Smollett.
Oh my God, she beat out Jesse's.
Eva Marcel. She's a Atlanta housewife.
Of course. All right. Well, congrats to Gia. And now you and I must move on from news. We talked about every single news story from a week ago. Now let's talk about Real Housewives of Potomac. How the hell did you feel about this episode? Pettiness and
pride and pettiness.
Pride and pettiness. What did you think overall about this episode?
I enjoyed it, generally speaking. I thought that the ending was pretty spicy. Stacey remains undefeated,
Totally.
Although she really might be a little bit of a liar, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. And we'll breeze through this thing, but there are a lot of scenes that I want to talk about. I didn't fault Stacey for that one little lie that she said about Thiebo's schedule, but I got to say this first. As someone who has been talking about this Monique scandal for months, as someone who said, why the hell does anyone care about this? Why are they teeing this up so much? This was I had a validating moment when they do a to be continued. They start with Kay teeing it up saying, Monique, do you care at all that Stacey was dating Chris Samuels? And Monique goes, no, we have been divorced for 2 years. And I assume he dates, so I do not care about this at all. It was like, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was the reaction. It couldn't have
gone worse. Like, she was literally like, I'm an adult, he's my ex-husband, and he can date whoever he wants. Thank you.
And you really see it in Kay's face that she is absolutely so disappointed that she brought this to the forum. She was the one who did this. It was so out of place, so forced. And then she brings it, and then it's ended within 1 minute. And people just go, oh man, that was really messy and weird. And then it's over. And then they're like, okay, let's take down Stacey some other way. What about that Shayo shit?
Right. Yeah, they accuse her of being a little bit out of her depth, naming her cannabis line a Nigerian name. Wendy is like, at least say it right. And Tia also knows how to pronounce it. And they're like, you're saying it wrong. And then like Angel tries to come after her and she's just like, all right, like, I'm not talking about this anymore.
Yeah.
Next.
Angel goes, and tell me, please, what's the social justice component of your weed line? And Stacey goes, enough. I'm not talking about this anymore. I got to ask you this question because we're in the midst of 2 takedown seasons, or, you know, there's the Lisa Barlow takedown season. There's now the Stacey takedown season. Like, one is much better executed than the one that we're watching on Potomac. Like, I want to be in the mindset of the cast members who are doing this. If they know that a fan likes Stacey, or if they don't they realize that there's not a lot of entertainment value in all doing the exact same thing and moving the exact same way? Like, don't you just think about the audience for a second to be like, is this enjoyable? And for me particularly, because I like Stacey, it's a nightmare to watch every single scene being about targeting Stacey for being a liar. Like, in a way, takedown seasons are very boring, no matter how you feel about the target of them. So I'm just kind of like, when Tia eventually, she's like, I also am going to take down Stacey. I'm like, wow, someone would be so powerful, and Wendy is sort of doing it, to be the counter to this, to glorify the assailed. And to be like, I am going to go on your side, and we're going to make this much more interesting. I'm just like, I just don't understand what the value of everyone aligning and having groupthink against one person. It's never enjoyable. I don't think.
Yeah, especially when it's not working and the substance isn't good enough. So it's just really flopping here. Because Stacey is just entertaining, period. We also get a little post Pride. They dig into Monique's marriage. She keeps being surprised that they want to talk about her marriage because they're like, what's going on with Chris? And she's like, my ex? Like, she's like, why do you guys keep asking me about this old ass shit? I don't like see him anymore. So she says that they had a shitty marriage, that everything we saw on camera was, you know, keeping up appearances, and that he would treat her differently when he was trying to get laid. And then after they would have sex, he would discard her. And she said that she did it as an experiment, had sex with him one last time. And she rolled over and said, you will never enter me again. And I was like, that reminds me of Wolf of Wall Street. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. She goes, that was the last time you will ever enter me, Mr. DiCaprio. Or what was his name in that?
Belfort.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Belfort. That's the last time you enter me, Mr. Belfort. Yeah, that was kind of, I thought that was a pretty powerful scene from Monique. She was like, you want the answer to that? And I like when whoever teed her up to be like, what was the final straw? I think it was Wendy. And she was like, well, you want to hear it? That was it. And I felt like it was powerful, even though they were kind of making fun of her saying enter. I was like, I don't know. I thought that was a good story to tell about the end of your marriage.
I know. I kind of like her. Actually.
Yeah, I like her too. Yeah, I think that Potomac is in such a place that I'm happy for anybody new to join it and change, the stuff that's going on. I gotta comment on Angel again after she said the one thing about, sort of jumping in on the social justice part of the weed company, but also I'm stunned, absolutely stunned, that she is trying to continue the catfish thing
Flop.
I mean, it happens 4 times, and you can see the cast members saying, don't do this. You got to stop. This is
even her husband doesn't care.
Yeah, there's a full scene of her talking about it, and she goes, and I've moved past the initial catfish part. Now I'm mad at Wendy for it. For Wendy is being the one to name it catfishing, as opposed to Giselle, who is the one who said you do this. So
she's out of her league.
It's getting hard to defend Angel, and I don't know who is telling her to run with this. She would have a much better time just participating in the active storylines that are going on without her in the middle of them than she is in keeping this thing alive, this catfish thing. It
sucks.
Yeah.
The next piece of drama is that this woman, Cookie, is getting in the mix. I sent you a meme that someone made a little intro card of Cookie with a what, champagne glass. I guess that's what they hold on this. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, honestly, yeah, might as well. Like, she's very involved. This random woman who, not to step on, I mean, I guess we could talk about it all in one, but Monique is like, I don't trust that cookie. Like, she has it out for me. So basically, Kay, who's just desperate to have an in on anything, is like on the horn with Cookie, who says, Chris Samuels called me and said that Monique was dogging him to the group. So it got back to him that what Monique said, you'll never enter me again, etc. Which they're putting on Stacy, who has a connection to Chris. Which
I don't believe this.
Okay.
I don't believe it at all.
Do you think Kay told Cookie?
I think Cookie is making up a rumor to sully Stacy's reputation and sort of bandwagon on the hate that Stacy is receiving.
But how did she know about the conversation?
I don't know. By the end of I don't know anything. I just don't. I take everything any Stacy attacks now with a complete grain of salt. I don't believe any of them. I mean,
right.
I've seen now 50 attacks against Stacy, and I can't believe any of these anymore. Especially Kay being the one to bring this news up. I don't know what happened. I do find it odd that Chris Samuels still cares about what is being said about him in the Potomac universe after all of these years. Like, that is definitely an odd thing to do. But I believe that Cookie and Vivian have these. They're getting the down current of the narratives that are coming from the Potomac cast members that they have valued relationships with, and they want to foster more storylines that are in accordance with a Stacy takedown. And that's why I feel like Cookie is just manifesting what the OGs want to happen.
I'm kind of obsessed with Cookie just being this sort of phone operator who she's the information connector with Karen on the inside. She's connecting the group to Chris, who's outside the group. And I'm like, she's not even in the group. Like, she keeps weaseling in. It's kind of funny to me.
But every franchise, has these not even friend ofs, like
Kim
people.
G.
Yeah, that's exactly what Cookie reminded me of. It's like these peripheral figures that are just as clued into all of the stories, and they're hoping to be deemed friend ofs at some point. But there's this different level that we never even see of these people that are never even get camera time, that are in the universe. And now Cookie is, sort of being one of the people to pop in. But my counter to Cookie was that, like, Wendy was like, take everything that Cookie says with a grain of salt. Monique doesn't believe her because Cookie lied about being somebody's son. She said it's demonic behavior. She goes, Cookie lied about being whose son?
Someone named Chuck Brown.
Chuck
I think
Brown,
a musician.
And Monique goes, if you lie about that, you'll lie about anything. And I sort of believe that philosophy. It's like,
yeah, she said that's an entire demonic entity right there. So, I mean, I believe Monique that Cookie is a untrustworthy character. But more to come on that. She does show up later. Mm-hmm. We get apparently 5 a.m. Stacy and Thiemo take their daughter to a swim lesson that they invite Tia to. I thought they were trying to say that Tia's kids were at the same thing, but then later Tia says that she got her ass up at the crack of dawn to go to this scene.
Yeah.
And Thiemo didn't do himself any favors. He did the classic husband who loathes being on camera, doesn't say a word edit. So I'm a little bit like, why did you guys go out of your way to film this scene if he wasn't going to talk?
Okay, I agree with you, but here's in defense of Thiemo. No, first of all, I gotta say I'm very disappointed in this scene for Tia. I felt like we rarely see a scene where someone is acting as like a double agent anymore. Mm-hmm. And this was clearly Tia did not care at all about her friendship with Stacy. She was there to be the one that got an exclusive look at Thiemo, the one that coaxed Thiemo into filming at an all-cast event so that Giselle and everyone else can get a look at him, and then to pry about the Monique phone call that you just heard about, the Chris Samuels phone call, betraying all the secrets of Monique. So if you watch this scene, you can see that Tia is artfully, or some would say not so subtly, just trying to get enough ammunition to betray Stacey later.
Right.
I felt that the entire time. I watched it multiple times, and I don't really blame Thiemo for not engaging with the other cast members yet, based off the stories that Stacey tells when she goes home. This has been a very toxic experience for Stacey. I mean, if you were someone who was a vibrant person who had a social life and you were being courted by Bravo to be on a cast, and someone said, you'll love the experience, but you need to watch how Stacey was treated on Potomac as sort of like a worst case scenario, I really do feel like this is the template for just being treated badly by a cast on Bravo. So I don't really blame Thiemo that they are very paranoid about what these cast members will do when they get around Thiemo. And it's only because, and I agree with your philosophy completely about house husbands not giving anything and being a detriment to the cast members on the show by not bringing anything. But I do think Stacey is sort of a remarkable case here.
Okay.
In terms of how she was treated. You don't have to agree with me. That's my
Yeah, it's just
theory.
hard to watch. It was just very awkward. They didn't have their stories straight about his flights, so that got to be used against them, and she got pitted in another lie when it could have very easily, they could have really sewn that up and it not been a problem, and she got caught. Now they're going to never let her have the end of it because
But
they're
those are
already
those
calling
lies.
her a liar all the time.
But those are those lies that we always do. You and I do these. This is lies. This is so different.
I know,
than
but she
lying.
can't risk it.
So you're saying even little lies, if you've been accused of some bigger lies,
Big
little lies. Okay, I thought that I was just like, this is the most excusable lie in the world. I don't want to go to a dinner, so I'm going to lie about when I have to go out on a flight. This is lies, daily lies that people make as excuses to get out of stuff. And then I actually felt like Stacey told Tia, she goes, just so you know, to be fully honest, Thiemo isn't ready to encounter the group. So I felt like Stacey was justifying that awkward lie by telling her the true reason right then. And then Tia wanted to use that little lie to do exactly what you said.
Right.
Paint
Threw
her
her
as a
under the
bigger
bus.
liar.
Yeah. No, she just, because since Wendy and Eddie and Tia and her husband went to dinner, which is what Stacey and Thiemo were invited to, she really lost out on getting, I feel like if they would have gone and Thiemo would have been charming, that would have really galvanized, like if we're talking strategy, once your husband's in the mix and if the other husbands like him, that's like really powerful.
Yes, for sure. Thiemo could have done good here. He could have been very, very charming, which we know Thiemo to be. We've seen it a lot of times. And this was a pro Stacey council. You know, Wendy is doing a very good job. Wendy is how
she's going out of her way.
She is really, and you could say it's good because she's kind of forming an ally, but also I do think Wendy has determined that I think Stacey lies, but I don't think that she's a devious person, which I think is how people should start to think about Stacey, whereas Giselle and Ashley think she's like a demon or whatever. So this was the proper outlet for Thiemo, but I think that it was just, I don't think it was safe enough as an outlet for him. But I agree with you. This probably would have been the dinner. But then this is what turns Tia completely on Wendy. She starts telling about how Thiemo possibly lied because Wendy was taken aback that she didn't get to have the exclusive access to Thiemo first, which was a miscalculation by Stacey. She overestimated how much Tia was her friend when really Wendy would have been good to go to that swimming lesson.
Right. Yes. So yeah, they get into it. They FaceTime or call Stacey at the dinner. They have it out there. And then we get to this reasonably shady 10 million downloads party, which, I mean, that podcast has been on for a long time. That didn't seem that remarkable to me. And maybe that's why Robin didn't even go.
Yeah, well, a lot to think about there. People don't even know what's downloads and what's plays.
Right. You can say whatever you want.
I think it was really whatever it is. It's obviously a milestone, but I think because you and I know what downloads, mean, we have access to analytics. It's kind of it really shows that this is a party to have a party and not really possibly indicative of some huge leap for the podcast.
Right.
And I think it's just because Giselle, they all do. We just have excuses for events. And so I've seen worse versions of this, of them creating an all-cast event out of nothing. So at least there is some semblance of a rationale. But the thing that was sort of the detriment to the event is that Giselle had it despite knowing that Robin would never show up. And I don't believe, Giselle, that Robin passed on it. I think it was very clear Robin has a grudge against Bravo now in this time for being fired, and she would never appear on camera on Potomac in this
She
capacity.
did go to BravoCon, but it was just for the Traders panel. I also wanted to say, I immediately thought of during BravoCon, 2Ts in a Pod celebrated 75 million downloads, and I think that podcast has been on less long.
Right. Yeah. So it makes you think, what are downloads and how many is worth, celebrating. But yeah, I agree. I think it was just an excuse for Giselle to bring people together.
Including some guy from Love Hotel.
Yeah, I didn't really understand because I don't think I had the Love Hotel knowledge. But Wale didn't talk to Ashley, so Ashley felt particularly scorned because he was sort of talking to everybody but her, and she was like, well, your love for me, I guess, was completely fake. But I was like, how did he show that his love was completely fake? Because he didn't talk to her for...
I found that all very confusing. They acted like we were supposed to know exactly who he was, and then they were like, are you here for Robin? And then Robin's not here. And I was like, was that just a joke, or does he actually know Robin? I had no idea what the fuck was going on. There was also a little cameo from that woman, Vivian, who was one of the first to go against Stacey.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We don't even know the ways in which people are trying to inflict harm. Now, I won't, not physical harm, but reputational harm to Stacey. The fact that there's someone in this universe that is purposefully sabotaging Stacey's outfits so she does repeat costumes so that she could be shaded for them eventually is a very shocking thing to me, that kind of stuff happens. I mean, I think it was verified. I think that's why Stacey's treating Vivian that way, because she was purposefully giving her outfits that were repeat outfits so that people could call her out for wearing them.
Yeah, there was that whole fashion show drama. Also, Robin did end up catching some strays here where, because she didn't show up, there was a montage of basically every single person saying, is Robin on the couch? Robin, get off the couch and come to the party. And they do the lazy clip of her waking up at 10 a.m. and her kids having to get dressed and feed themselves. I'm like, girl, you're never going to outlive. Remember, what was it? It was, I took the DNA test and I 100% don't care.
I think that was her last tagline.
It's really good.
Yeah,
that's my energy.
Yeah, and then so they kind of, like you said, they use it to sort of talk shit about Robin. Even Ashley gets in there a little bit, but I don't blame Robin. I don't think this is more Giselle's fault for even pretending like Robin was going to show up. And then Stacey has a private conversation with just the principals, Wendy and Tia. She does what she's supposed to do, have a conversation she doesn't want to have. She brings them all over to a spot. And then I could not believe this when I watched it the second time. You have no idea how quickly the entire cast races over. I've never seen anything like it. It's one of my least favorite things. I haven't talked about it in a while. I haven't talked about it. Giselle runs over. Ashley runs. Kay runs. It turns in from what should have been a 3-person conversation with the 3 people who care about this to the entire cast going against Stacey, which is not what you want. You want some scenes where they're private. You want to go to a party and just have a scene where that happens by itself, but they all come over, and Tia has sort of her read kind of ready to go. She goes, I was on the fence about you, but then when you lied about Thiemo's schedule, I knew you were an awful liar, and don't let my accent fool you. And then Stacey gives a big clap at what a performance. I know a performance when I see one. Great job for getting that whole thing out, which
Yeah.
Giselle declares as rude.
Right. Then Kay brings up what Cookie told her about Chris, and that implying that Stacey has leaked the conversation. And Wendy's like, well, just so you know, Monique told me that we shouldn't trust Cookie. And Cookie's getting pissed. She hates Stacey. She tells Stacey not to point her finger at her. Stacey's like, I'll point my finger where I want. And then Cookie, I don't know if she was privy to the breath conversations, but she brings up a different stench regarding Stacey, saying, you need to take a bath with your funky ass. And I was like, Cookie, does she have a different smell? Why does this keep happening?
No, she meant the smell that we've all heard of being smelled. Cookie is absolutely a part of the Stinky Stacey
gate.
Stinky Stacey saga.
That's her cabbage, or what's the garbage pail kid? Her card is Stinky Stacey.
Yeah, it's not true. I met Stacey twice.
Yeah, how does she smell? That's what I should have asked you first.
Perfect in every way. I'm not going to I acknowledge that there was something that I should have been thinking about in that scenario. No, it's not true. It's not true at all. Why does Cookie hate Stacey? She hates the TJ stuff from last season. She hates that she might have bought a boyfriend. She hates that she's doing a copycat brand of weed. Like it's just assumed that Cookie hates Stacey just as much as the other cast
Cookie
members
in this world.
I don't even mean that at all. I just mean I cannot.
Cookie?
I cannot get in the world that hates Stacey. You'll never make me believe it. I feel like I'm George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life, running around being like, I used to have a life. What the hell is going on? I'm not on board. I will never be on board until Stacey lies and it's busted and it's the worst lie and the biggest character defect I've ever seen in my life. Kay, I believed Stacey when she said, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't call Chris Samuels. And there's enough weird assumptions going on between the telephone line of Cookie to Kay to what Monique said about Cookie to make me believe Stacey, who I've believed 100 times. You know what I mean? I'm not about it. And then Stacey gives, Wendy goes, she goes, please stop, everyone. Monique says she doesn't believe Cookie, has good intentions. We need to have Monique here. Stacey gives a point at Cookie to chastise her, being like, did you hear that? And Cookie is in the field of vision, sees that pointed finger, and she goes, don't point your finger at me. And Stacey goes, oh, to do something like this, and points it again. Kind of being confrontational, and even wants to get closer to Cookie when Cookie's like, I'm going to climb over this table if you put your finger up like that again. And Stacey goes even closer to Cookie, which I was kind of surprised by.
It was getting, people were stepping in, starting to be like, we might need to separate these two. And Kay is just desperately coming for Stacey because she doesn't have a storyline. And Stacey goes, you only get heated when it's about me. You're always at a 0, but today you got up to a 2. And Kay goes, I'd never trust you around my husband. And Stacey goes, you don't have one. And I was like, yes.
It was wonderful. Wendy loves both of Stacey's line. They pan to Wendy and she's reacting well to Stacey saying both of those things.
Yeah.
And,
it's like, unfortunately, Kay seems nice enough, but it's just, there's no way you can reverse engineer yourself onto the show by bringing some information in. You either have it or you don't. And unfortunately, she has big friend of energy. Stacey is a star, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I said what I said.
Yeah, that's it, and it's definitely. I mean,
it's an open and shut case.
I'm sure it's apparent. It's very apparent. I just wish. I do feel like there are ways that Kay and Angel could navigate this a little better. It's just like what you said. You're bringing the newspaper every day to set, and it's either old news or extra. No one cares. Yeah. And if you don't have the news, if you don't have the current day of the newspaper, you just have to be engaging on your own. And I feel like Kay and Angel could be engaging on their own, but unfortunately, whether it's the edit or not, they are forcing themselves to be a part of storylines that no one gives a shit about.
Yeah. Do you think when Kay saw that Stacey's QVC clips were going viral, she was like, ugh?
Of course she was pissed. I mean, the defeated look on Kay's face after she revealed the Monique thing fizzled out is something to behold. It rarely ever happens where a bomb gets loose like that and the little cartoon flag comes out and says "dud" or whatever. So,
Yeah.
you know, but you know what is the fact that we talked about this for 40 minutes or 35 minutes as opposed to the 10 minutes that we normally give Potomac says something about it. And Stacey really did get some comebacks in there. She got a little fight in her, I'll say. Not literally, but some metaphorical fighting back, which I
it was good. It was like spicier than usual. Enjoyed it. Maybe they'll bring Cookie out at the reunion.
We'll see. That would be Cookie. I think Cookie would appreciate that.
Yeah. I also wanted to shout out, I maybe already said this, but I think Monique was maybe one of the very first to bring out a file folder.
Really? Well,
in my memory.
Wow. All right. She deserves credit for that. That's a big one. That started a huge chain of events for bringing stuff, receipts
Props.
and everything. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I think that you and I should sort of decompress. Let's take 2 certified turtle piss breaks separately, and then let's come back and talk about this week's episode of Salt Lake City. Does that sound good?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Amy, could you actually give me a second? I'm just going to order Heather Gay's novelty floor lamp on Wayfair, if you don't mind.
Wayfair has their clutches on Bravo. We saw it on the ground at BravoCon. It leaked its way into the episode, in between the episodes. I can't escape Wayfair.
Me neither. And I love Wayfair. But I was just like, I love it. But I was almost like, oh my God, I'm getting a big, huge taste of Wayfair, especially BravoCon. And then it was kind of tied in perfectly. It was like product integration in the episode because Heather was she's like, look at this desk, look at this novelty floor lamp. You know what I mean? And then we see the ad immediately after. Kind of interesting how that works.
Yeah, Bravo's got their ad sales on lock. It's probably, I bet those are coveted jobs because it's one of the last networks outside of sports that is probably people are drooling to buy network ad space because it's such a specific demo.
Mm-hmm. It is. And we've talked about the heavy hitters, like when the cast of RHONY all went to go see B-Movie and, that kind of
Frozen.
Stuff. Frozen.
Kyle and Kim Richards talking about the plight of sisters seeing Frozen.
Holy shit, I gotta watch that one again. I'm kind of a Frozen head now. I don't think I had seen it when Kim and Kyle were talking about it. Whoa, I gotta go back to see when they talk about Frozen. That's fun. This episode of Salt Lake City that we're going to talk about is called Ladies Who Lunch Part 2. When was Ladies Who Lunch Part 1?
Yeah, it was the sequel. Is it just referring to another time they went to lunch?
Yeah, one of those things where, you and I just watched it and we have no time to look anything up. Ladies Who Lunch, of course, I know that is a fun phrase. But I don't remember what episode. When did they go? I guess maybe it was Lisa's Clarity Lunch.
A reference to the musical Company that Elaine Stritch originated the song Here's to the Ladies Who Lunch.
Oh, that's awesome. And I was, yeah, in Stephen Sondheim. I'm looking this up. With the first thing, it says a term popularized by Sondheim. I'm sure everybody will know the answer to why this is called Part 2, but we sadly don't. And this is a lunch directly after Mary's church thing that happened last week where, everybody remembers Mary had a big, church celebration. And then now it's like, hey, let's go to this elegant lunch after and maybe talk about, forgiving each other or healing. Did you like this? Did you like the setup for this lunch?
Sure. It really was a let's figure out what happened on the plane lunch. That was the bottom of it. But I was excited that Mary broke out that 2003 Dom for the group, which was one of her first iconic moments on the show, I think.
Yeah, it really was. And I was glad to be reminded, because I haven't watched early Salt Lake City in a long time. I was glad to be reminded of the sort of doom, the doom and death that led to that being a particularly good year. 5,600 casualties of a heat wave, Mary said, which made the grapes, I guess, phenomenal. You'd think it would ruin the grapes.
Yeah. You think they'd get scorched to oblivion, but apparently not.
It's like you'd think that like the perfect temperature would lead to wonderful grapes, but it's like, no, we scorched the shit out of them and a bunch of people died and these are the best. I bet, has anybody ever checked into that 2003 Dom Perignon story?
Yeah, I have not fact checked. Maybe it was humid or something, like bad for humans, good for grapes.
That's got to be what it was. And as they're on the way, really quick, they solidify their stances on things. Lisa and Meredith are like, "Well, that was a beautiful church service, but God, everybody treated us like shit." And then Whitney and Heather are driving together, and they go, "Can you believe the gall of Meredith and Lisa for acting that way?" Towards us. So
Yes.
just restating everything.
Yeah. Mary also, welcomes everyone, saying that she really wanted her good friends, her real friends around her, which is why Brittany is not invited. And they play a call where she let Brittany know, the classic Housewives thing or Bravo thing, where you call the person who is not invited to tell them they are not invited. Um, and she's like, "You did say I was the least godly person you have ever met. And since this was like my church day, I certainly wouldn't want you around for that." Brittany apologizes. She considers forgiving her. She asks her dog, who does not give the go-ahead, so she remains uninvited.
Yeah. Probably would have been good for Brittany to be here
Yeah,
for a scene that involves Brittany. I think, but I guess if you're going with Mary's true feelings about it, I guess it's good that she got to disinvite someone. But yeah, that kind of leads into Heather holding court for a really long time about the horrible tragedy that Meredith committed on the plane to Brittany. And they all haven't been in the same room, I guess, in a bit. So we finally get to sort of have Heather and everyone else pick apart Meredith's version of things for this lunch.
right. Yeah, I don't think we touched on before that some of the only footage that we did originally see in photo form was that someone was watching Crazy Rich Asians. And that comes up here where, Meredith, her main argument that she would have her legal team say to the jury is, "I couldn't have been screaming for 5 hours because I watched 2 movies and slept." And they go, "Well, what 2 movies?" And she's like, "Crazy Rich Asians." And the other, I can't recall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you have could you say a little bit? Like, I don't know, like it had a dragon, or
Mm-hmm.
it was sad, or it had Dermot Mulroney, or
Right.
like anything.
Or Ryan Reynolds had a lightsaber for a period of time. You'd be like, "Free Guy." No, she has no clue. She has no idea what this other film, was. And they go, "Well, why don't you watch Crazy Rich Asians? You said, but do you remember the ending?" And she goes, "I can't recall the damn ending of this film. No one could." And Heather goes, "It's got a really remarkable ending. You'd know it if you saw it. It's really a big, huge moment." Lisa, do you recall what happened at the end of Crazy Rich Asians? And Lisa goes, "Yeah, yes, yeah. The guy goes on the plane. I haven't seen it." So she's like, he goes on a plane. He wishes he would have done it by the pond. There's synchronized swimmers. And it's like, okay, that story checks
They
out.
gave her a demarcation for the pond detail. I did see
Oh,
that movie in theaters,
yeah.
and if you asked me the ending, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, no offense to obviously that film, but I don't think it's like I don't know if Heather was fully right to be like everyone remembers the climactic. It sounded like it's sort of a
Well,
conventional rom-com
if you
ending.
watched it 5 days ago, I would hope that you would remember the ending. And she's like, "Well, I must have fallen asleep then."
I don't know. I don't know. I'm somewhere between these two pillars of memory where I'd be like, I don't know, and I don't even know if I would have remembered what the second movie I watched on a plane was. If you're drowsy and falling asleep, but it is sort of. You're right. I mean, it's like I think Meredith doesn't come off well by not being able to name a second movie, and it almost adds a little bit to the idea that she could have been kind of like messed up, like not
Right.
remembering things, not the best acquittal for Meredith about her plane adventures.
Right. I was thinking about it. I actually think I remember movies I watch on planes better than any other way I watch them because I have nothing else to
Mhm.
focus on. Um, because that's all you're doing.
Yeah, I don't go on planes enough
Mm.
to have a sort of theory of it anymore. I would just think that if I was for me, the bar is really low of what movie I would watch on a plane, so I'd be watching like a lot of potentially garbage, and I wouldn't really be caring what. But you do it more, so you maybe have a different philosophy. But I could. I could imagine being Meredith not remember if it's not remarkable, if it wasn't a
I think
good.
she's a liar.
Meredith is. Meredith.
She can't remember the end of the movie. She can't remember the second movie. She's not
Mhm.
helping herself here. She was kind of floundering.
She was floundering, but okay, yes, she was floundering, and I do agree. I think that this is like the thin blue line or whatever, Errol Morris documentary, but where we're really parsing this thing, and I do think it's Meredith is embarrassed, and she's eating crow a little bit here, but she's indignant, and she's trying to hold this holier than thou persona for the entire lunch. But I knew throughout this entire thing that the first thing that was going to happen was Meredith was going to be inviting Brittany to another lunch to apologize to her. This is just her not wanting to fully be accountable in front of a bunch of people that are sort of bullying her to try to get her to say the right answer. And that's what I felt Heather and Whitney and Angie and everyone were doing. Heather does not have good intentions with this lunch. She doesn't care. Whitney said, I'm so concerned. This deeply, deeply concerns me that you don't remember. Whitney doesn't give a shit about Meredith. It's not coming from the bottom of her heart. So, and then I was just like, okay, well, Meredith did do this. She splashed wine. She watched Crazy Rich Asians. She didn't finish it because she was screaming so much. At a certain point, I was like, okay, so someone apologizes. Like, I did wrong. We've seen 1,000 fights. This one's on a plane, 30,000 feet in the air. But we've seen this 1,000 times. Ultimately, Meredith ends up apologizing. Like, this scandal kind of flies away as quickly as it was introduced. It's like, it's not that crazy. There's no air marshal involved. You know what I mean?
Right. I know, we've heard some things. I've seen some stuff on TikTok. I've seen it around that there is potentially a tape that does exist. I feel like that's perhaps the only way all of this makes sense is if the show is planning on doing a reveal. Yeah.
Speaking of Exorcist, the sources I was listening to said that Meredith started crawling on the top of the seats from the bathroom up to the first row, crawling on top of everyone.
She spun around in the toilet. The blue stuff was coming out.
Yeah, I'm like, if we see that. But I honestly now, though, thinking of this was a deflating, conversation for me a little bit. It's like when something is good and then it gets talked and rehashed, like a joke well told that you talk about then and you say it 7 times. It's like it sort of lost the energy. And what are we going to see on this tape? Like Meredith going, hey, stop it!
Greetings, passengers!
I don't care if you strap me to my chair. I'm going to keep screaming. I don't know. It will never be as salacious as what we envision in our mind of her going, shaking the shit out of her seat, going, you like wine on your head, bitch? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not going to be that. And I believe Lisa. I hate to say it every single week of my life, but I really do. Lisa has acknowledged enough of Meredith's lack of character or couth on the plane. She's acknowledged it well enough. She's apologized to Brittany, and she does not say it is this 5-hour torture against Brittany. Like, you know what I mean? And a lot of the principals, we already talked about this, were asleep. Mary was asleep. Angie was asleep. Heather said I was asleep the entire time. You couldn't wake me up to save my life. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I think that they are making way too much of this at the lunch.
I was trying to get to the bottom of this whole global entry. I love minutia about TSA pre-check and global entry. And they were like, Lisa, why didn't you check out of customs with us? And she's like, yeah, I realized after that I had global entry and I could have been in that line, but I forgot. And then Whitney tries to pick it apart in her confessional. It's like, you don't have to add your global entry to your ticket. And at first I was like, wait, I think you do. And then she was like, it's not like TSA pre-check, which you do have to add your ticket. I was like, that is what I was thinking. So thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, that was cool, Whitney. Yeah, I have to take your word and Whitney's word for it. I don't even know what the global entry is. So, and I also like that Lisa kind of laughed at herself for lying. Like, she did lie and like she was trying to make some excuse for it. But I think that she knew it was so silly for her to be talking about global entry at that point. And she was like, I just wanted to go into a little corner and listen to Kendrick Lamar, who I love.
Did that hurt you?
No, I thought about it. Obviously she kind of chose a side in the Drake versus Kendrick, feud. But no, I'll always love Kendrick. But yeah, it was a little. I was like, damn, well, she chose Kendrick over Drake. Something.
Mary
to
was like, not Kendrick.
Yeah, she was like, "Do you mean Drake?"
Yeah,
but
I will say you really must want to not be with your group if you choose
yeah,
to not use your global entry because
right.
it's a slam dunk. Essentially, if you've never done it, on your way out, or it's on your way back into the US, um, it scans your face like you've given over to the police state completely. They have all your data, your fingerprints, your eyeball, retina, everything. And you just literally walk and never stop. And they're like, thank you, Amy. Welcome back. And you just keep walking.
Wow. Is there a separate line for this?
Yes.
So global entry, TSA pre-check, and then the shit that I do every 6 months or a year is.
Yeah, like TSA is for like security, and then global entry is for like getting back into the country, like customs.
Could you, if you were running late and you had global entry, could you run through the airport and run through that checkpoint?
They might get concerned, but possibly. But when you get global entry, it comes with TSA pre-check, and you get it for 5 years, so it's totally worth it.
How much is this wonderful thing?
It's not that much. It's like I think it's like $200, but you get it for 5 years.
I think it's cool because you just be like, I declare thee a safe passenger. You know,
Right.
whatever I have
Yeah.
to prove to be like, hey, I'm not going to do anything that weird on the plane. Maybe Meredith
Yeah.
couldn't get it now.
Yeah, probably. She has a mark, and her and Portia. Sorry, someone's taking the bins out. Can you hear him?
Oh, just no, not too badly.
But the fatal flaw I think is what keeps a lot of people is you have to have your meeting, your final approval at the airport, which where we live that's a little rough. But if you do go on an international trip, you can have your meeting on the fly on your way out of the airport. You could say, I'm already here. I'm just going to stop in. They stamp your thing. You're done. So if you plan it right, it could be chill.
So I could book a first class flight to Paris, schedule my global entry, and then right before I spend my 2 weeks trip to Paris, I could land in where the Louvre is or whatever, with that airport. And then I could just have my global citizen entry scheduled meeting right then before.
It would be then when you return.
Oh.
And then on your way, after you've picked up your bags on your way out the door, you could get it for your next trip to somewhere worldwide.
Good. Well, something to think about for me next time. I'm very excited. This was a big, long ladies who lunch fight, and so we can't get into the dialogue of every thing. I do want to point out that there was a funny moment where where Meredith goes, okay, Heather goes, you do no longer have a right to your voice if you treat people like that. And then Meredith goes, okay, then I'm not going to talk. And it's like, what are you talking about? I can't speak anymore. And then Heather clarifies. She's like, no, you used to be the victim. And now through your actions, you can no longer be the victim. It's like, okay, whatever. That's pretty philosophical. Anyway. And then then Meredith goes, well, I heard people were talking major shit about me that was even worse than the things that we're talking about here. And then Whitney goes, who was that? Who said things like that? And then there's a big pause, and then Meredith goes, well, Bronwyn met with me and said that you accused me of being a drunkard who drinks alcohol and then maybe mashes pills up and snorts them and then has a blackout, a blackout journey on a plane. And then Whitney is staring daggers at Bronwyn, and then Bronwyn goes, Meredith, you just ruined my relationship with Whitney because you just outed me for ratting out Whitney at that lunch with you. Kind of a strategic mistake on Bronwyn's part. And then Whitney didn't ever expect that Bronwyn would reveal that. She calls her a rat and a snake, I think, later after that. That was kind of a huge misfire on Bronwyn's part.
Right. Yeah. And then Whitney now is taking the mantle on comparing Meredith's problems to her dad's problem, mixing pills, getting fucked up in the lounge. So I'm like, woo, that's like almost like that's a tough road to go down. So I'm kind of like, good luck with that.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh Whitney, it's over. This was very inspiring. I was like, well, Lisa and Meredith are now forged through fire. They're gonna fucking hate you all. They're a powerful duo. Say what you will, Lisa and Meredith together. At least they have each other. And then now I honestly know Whitney's gonna blow it in some capacity. Her and Heather have such a tenuous friendship and allyship anyway. Whitney always uses Heather as a punching bag. So I started to see the fractures already arising. Now, if they fuck over Bronwyn, like Whitney treats Bronwyn like shit, Bronwyn could defect and go to that side. So this made me hopeful for the future that we're not in this sort of horrible Lisa takedown season forever. Whitney also is diagnosing, kind of on her high horse. She goes, it's one of three things that I will diagnose your spirit with. It's either a deep, deep hatred within your heart, an anger problem, or you have a problem mixing substances. And it's like, it has to be one of those things. Do you want it to be hatred in your heart, Meredith?
Right. Yeah. I thought this was interesting. The next scene we find out that Bronwyn is not a U.S. citizen. I had no idea. I thought she was going to say Canadian or something, but she's born in Brazil. Her parents from the UK, and she's a dual citizen of those places. Her siblings were born in the U.S., so automatically got that passport, and she just never got that done.
Yeah, I wanted to look it up. I wanted to, see what was going on. Maybe a mission trip or something. Are they Mormons?
Right.
Yeah.
Must
maybe
be, yes.
Yeah, and she goes, and then Muzzy was like, you were an accident. We had an oops in Brazil. And Bronwyn goes, please don't call me an oops, to my face, Muzzy. That's not what you do. I liked when Bronwyn said, I'm excited about doing jury duty, because I love jury duty, just like Bronwyn.
You do?
Oh, I love it.
When's the last time you did it?
I got to do it. I think I told you once, I got to do it with Viola Davis.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was just like, holy shit, this is so cool. I was just like reading books, and I was like, looking at Viola Davis, and I didn't get selected for the main, like we were on the jury together. I was just in the room when they were going like, no, we don't want that guy. The judge looked at me and he goes, get that guy out of here.
She'd be an amazing foreman.
She got released just like me, and so we were kind of the people that were cast aside. But I was like, could you imagine if we were on the jury together?
She should get disqualified for playing a lawyer on TV. She thinks she knows too much.
That's what I told the judge. I said, hey, are you familiar with her work? This will never
How
be
to Get Away with Murder? I don't think so.
Yeah, I said she knows too much because of the kind of stuff that she appears in. Okay, Heather's office. We already talked about this. She's got binoculars to look at the pool boys.
Bird glasses.
Yeah, that's what the daughter says. She goes, you got your bird glasses. And Heather goes, these are called binoculars.
I really don't know how to draw the line between what young people don't know. Is it because no one uses binoculars anymore? Or, like how much more were people using binoculars when we were younger versus now? Like, is that okay to not know what binoculars are?
They do sound like bifocals, or like they do sound like an antiquated, like in 20 years, we will be like, we used to have these things called binoculars. And I get sort of why they don't, but also I think that young people are really sort of going through it right now. I
feel like, people even, before our time, more people had those like opera style ones for the theater and such. I guess now people just use their phones and they can zoom.
People use their phones to zoom in on what they're looking at?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen that before. Do you mean it at Broadway?
Like at a concert, or, well, you're not allowed to have your phone at the Broadway, but I remember my dad always had binoculars for shows and stuff, and I feel like it's very rare that you would see that anymore.
Yeah, we should both, you and I think that we could bring binoculars back and get those cool ones that you wear up around your neck that you can just always lift up to see stuff better. You know what I'm talking about? The smaller ones?
I want the fancy ones that are on a little gold stick.
All right, I'm going to remember that. Wait, gold stick ones. I don't know if I know those.
You know what I'm talking about? Like opera binoculars that you hold up.
Oh, of course. Oh, sorry. I so rarely get to go to Broadway anymore. But yes, of course I know. I can see it in my mind. I'm imagining like in Margaret by Kenneth Lonergan that, at the end.
I used that today.
Really?
For
I'm kind of, man, we've been kind of, I don't play Cinematrix, but we've been hitting a lot of Cinematrix stuff recently. I'm kind of going to be I don't know if I should be the guy who has the ones on a string around my neck.
Yeah, it's kind of giving Peeping Tom.
Yeah, but you're right. I also wondered. I was like, are binoculars sort of passé now? Kids don't know about them.
Apparently, yeah. In her Wayfair office. So, and then we get there's a lot of different scenes. Like I feel like we're bopping around a lot. We get Meredith
Totally.
and Lisa getting a mani-pedi where they talk about staying on the same side. They make fun of Whitney's, she's Miss Healing Journey. She's always a seeker. And it's like, then if she wants to be seeking all the time, why doesn't she stay out of my fucking business?
Yeah. And I liked when Lisa just declared it weird. She was like, that was really weird. They were all being weird. And I agree. It was like Heather was trying to have those receipts proof moments again, holding court, chastising everyone, whatever that kind of thing, the sort of the end of the season triumph that she has. And she was doing it again. And I'm just like, it's not that big of a deal. It's and I resent that Heather is trying to take down two other OGs in this time. And like, I'll never get over how badly Whitney has treated Heather for so long. Like, just like the worst ally in the world. And then now she's like absolutely dying for Whitney, and that's like the relationship that's now blossoming while she tries to take down her fellow OGs. I really don't like the spirit of it. And then we find out that Lisa met with Brittany, which they're making Brittany like this is a few and far between thing that we can't get a glimpse of her ever. And it's like, I met with her. It's like, she should be in every scene. We should have already talked about this. We don't need to prolong this anymore. And then Lisa goes, I'm sorry for what I did. I can't account for what Meredith did, but I'm sorry that you felt like I wasn't being supportive to you in that moment. And I think people might judge it as a half-hearted apology, but I think that Lisa gave enough to Brittany, and Brittany's not the person that's going to prolong this. She accepts it, from Lisa by the end of this little conversation.
Right. Meredith is like, do I feel bad for Brittany as a person? Yes, I do. She can't hold a relationship. She struggles professionally. She's sort of just a sad specimen.
Yeah, she feels bad for her. I did also love when Brittany said...
That's a totally great thing to say.
Yeah, she's a very sad
She's
specimen.
a sad specimen.
Yeah. I liked when Brittany declared to Lisa, she goes, you're not going to apologize for anything. She goes, that was the 6th worst thing that has ever happened to me in my life. And I love to imagine the ranking of what was the 5 things before. Okay. Next up, Whitney, this scene, this was going between a filler episode and a great episode for me. Ladies Who Lunch was good. I liked really getting down to how they all felt about what Meredith did. But then we're like, I don't know, we're going to Heather's office and that scene at the nail parlor. And then now Whitney and Heather are going to take Heather's mattress of 20 years, her marital mattress, to take it to the mattress recycling plant together, as a kind of a, what's that, like a sacred thing to do, to sort of out with the old, in with the new, get a new mattress finally.
Does Wayfair not offer dumping for your old mattress? Because I've never had to physically deliver my crusty mattress personally in a U-Haul that I paid for to a third location.
Yes. A lot of people will be unfamiliar with this sort of mattress pass off, but I think it was more about being a sacred scene between Heather and Whitney, again, solidifying that they need to be with each other for all of life's beautiful moments, and just about what it means. It's like, I don't know a literary comparison, but, it's kind of, but I did think it was very humbling to see that, even Heather gets those horrible brown big stains. And I almost wish that production would have been like, Heather, do you really, we're going to be flipping the mattress. Do you really want those big yellow brownish, stains that mattresses get? And no, I mean, she said, no, don't drape over it.
20 years? Her back must be just in shit poor shape. 20 years, the same mattress? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, and I'm not, I'm not me, I'm not like wealthy and I don't do stuff at all, but even 20 years, I mean, I think I maybe moved too often, but
she wears designer clothes every week. She could spend a couple thou on a new mattress.
It's one of those things that maybe you don't think about, but it really reveals itself when you flip that thing over and you see those sort of brown human-like stains on it. And she is trying to like get past it, like don't look. But they get it in there.
She said that she no stray sperm was ever spilled. So she's like, get your mind out of the gutter. It's not that. I took all the sperm that was ever spilled within me
Really?
myself.
I didn't hear her say that. Wow. I
Yeah.
was thinking if mattresses could talk, the stories that thing would tell, but it sounds like there's not a
That
lot of
was like
sex.
bile. What is that?
What do you mean? The
What's the brown?
Oh, the brown is something that I mean, I've never had this personally, but a lot of people when you search stained brown mattresses, it's just human human
It's
spirit.
giving what comes out when you die.
No, yeah, it is. It's a lot like that. It's
Goo.
that movie. Well, yeah, it's like it's just brown skin and goo that comes off you. And if you have a mattress for more than 10 years, that stuff, you've never seen that before. You change your mattresses you change your mattress so often that you never even get that brown stuff.
My mattress is so white that it hurts your eyes.
Mine is
That's
too.
how clean
Mine
it is.
Mine is too. And I know we got a lot of full white mattress heads.
And you'll never
listening to
know
this.
if I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, for sure. And I've got one of the best new mattresses too. But then they get in this U-Haul, and Heather goes, these vultures, and I was like, it's over, Heather, it's over. You don't know it yet, but this scandal is over. You need to go back to source of all dirt or whatever the hell you were saying on the boat about Lisa. You need to go back to the drawing board of stage 1 of your Lisa takedown, because plain is not it until we see that footage of Meredith jumping around in her seat. And then Whitney goes, like you already said, I'm so concerned. I am so concerned with Meredith. This has drugs and prescription pill popping all over it, just like what I've dealt with in my own life, which is, like you said, an insane allegation to make about another cast member.
Right. So we now go to Brittany and her daughter going to therapy, a tried and true thing that we've seen many times on these shows. Not much to share. It was good. It was positive. I don't know. They were honest. Her daughter said that it was 7 years of neglect. The therapist is like, what do you want to get out of this? Brittany says, I don't need anything. I just want whatever my daughter needs for her to get that. And the therapist is like, it works both ways. And she says that she doesn't feel worthy of getting anything out of this. She has a lot of shame and self-loathing. And her daughter says same, because I felt so unworthy all of this time that I don't even know how to ask for what I need. So they have some work to do, but it seems like they're in a good first position to deal with this.
Yeah. Brittany is being accountable, and Olivia is receptive to it, which is a great start. I love when the therapist said, Brittany, you get stuff too. I would be like, I'd be so happy if I was losing in therapy and then the therapist said, Riley, you get something too. I'd be like, oh my God, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't think that maybe you would get something, but she did. Okay, I got to ask about this scene. Is my favorite by far. Ladies Who Lunch, take a seat at a lunch table, because Bonsai by Me was a wonderful scene. This was like a sad, Gilmore Girls scene, the saddest thing you've ever seen in your life. But first I have to ask, what is Bronwyn goes, do you get it? Bonsai by Me. And I wanted to ask you, what does that mean? Like, just
is it just that you're doing the bonsai work yourself?
Yeah, I thought it was like much deeper or something. Bonsai by Me, I guess, because by BAI is like by, so you get to craft your own bonsai, like you said.
That's all I thought.
Okay. And then they are doing they each gets a bonsai tree, doing some roots, like what this is called, like getting that root stuff out. And then Gwen needs a female chameleon, because her chameleon is really horny and it's walking around on its hind legs with its penis sticking out.
Fetty.
So Fetty needs a friend. And then this is when Gwen drops the bombshell to Bronwyn, which is that she wants to possibly move to Portland, where it'd be easy to find a chameleon mate for her male chameleon. And then Muzzy goes, and by the way, I am getting the itch too. I want to go. And this was very emotional and beautiful. The what happens after this scene where Bronwyn has to deal with both her mother and daughter leaving her at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it's a sad thing that somebody has to go through.
Bronwyn's house life is so bad with Todd that she's sad that Muzzy's gonna leave.
I know, but
that's her two options. She's caught between two curmudgeons.
Yeah, but
I'd be
Muzzy,
like, yeah, can you please fuck off? Thank you.
no, but yes, but then we learn that she's gotten equipped to handle Muzzy. They've been having a good time. She goes, just when I started to acquaint myself with Muzzy and her demeanor, Muzzy would leave me now. And then they show those funny scenes where she goes, how many times is Todd going to cheat on me? And Muzzy goes, you're just like Lucille Ball. Ricky, you've got some splaining to do. Did you see that scene? It was like a flashback.
I don't know how she'll live without these moments. It looks so fun.
Yeah,
Muzzy's so awesome.
of course, yeah, of course, we still judge Muzzy for the things that she's done, but I take Bronwyn's word for it. It got a little better. And then when Bronwyn is reeling from these twin sad things, she says a very poetic, beautiful thing off the cuff. I got to give Bronwyn credit. She goes about Gwen. She goes, because Gwen is thinking about leaving to Portland. She goes, Gwen thinks all the best days of her life are still ahead of her, and these were the best days of my life. Her being with me. And I was like, damn, that is so like sad and so sweet to say.
Yeah, sad. Bronwyn is in a real place of transition. I'm curious what's going to come next.
Well, I want Bronwyn. These moments with Bronwyn and Muzzy and Gwen are the best. Like, she is such an amazing cast member, obviously. It goes without saying. It's only how these misfires of how she's operating within the cast that I begrudge Bronwyn for the things that she does, because she makes a lot of kind of bad strategic mistakes. But this was my favorite scene by far. This emotional scene. So I was really proud of her for being honest. And they have this beautiful, again, the cinematography on this show where she's sort of, after she says that sad statement, they just have her looking very, very upset next to the bonsai tree for like 5 seconds. Beautiful, beautiful image.
Beautiful bonsai. Okay, and then the finale of the episode is Brittany sitting down with Meredith on a park bench, and it happens pretty quickly. Essentially, Meredith is like, she frames it as, I'm sorry you heard me talking to Lisa on the plane. It was the wrong place and the wrong time. So she's only willing to say that Brittany overheard a conversation, not that she was in any way speaking to her directly or physically touching her or pouring shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's interesting that Brittany found that acceptable. But, she says, I didn't want to hurt your feelings, so I'm sorry for that. And Brittany's like, well, I'm choosing to forgive because I'm looking for forgiveness in my life. And she goes as far as to say that it was shady to bring up the TikTok. And they sort of have a little chuckle by the end. And it's easier than I thought, because Brittany's like, hey, I have no leg to stand on in this group. I don't have it in me to go against this titan. Let's just make up, I think.
Totally, yeah. And I don't think that Brittany and Meredith, it was like Meredith with Angie when they were fighting, and it was like the worst feud you've ever seen. And I was like, you'll like each other eventually. And Brittany and Meredith too. Brittany, it made no sense why Brittany brought up that Seth Marks Uber driver makeout or whatever the hell that TikTok was. It was out of nowhere. And I understand why Meredith hated that. So this was sort of easy for me to accept that they would get past this. And I'm glad that Brittany is not a grudge holder and that she wants to just accept these apologies from everyone. And she's not making a meal out of it like Angel with the catfish on Potomac. She's just accepting an apology for what it is. And hopefully they can move past it. And then I'm like, what the hell are Heather and Whitney going to do now? Like, you can't hold this over anybody's head anymore. Meredith's
Right.
going to come back and be like, I apologize to her. She accepted. We're starting a new leaf. Are you going to exacerbate it again and get her fired up and be like, what kind of apology was it? Like, for now, it's over. Brittany has been taken care of emotionally by Meredith and Lisa apologizing to her.
It's true. Yeah, we have probably at least 5 or more episodes left, so they have to find something new. Next week I guess next week it looks like there's Bronwyn wears another inflatable. She has so many. And we get whatever this founding fathers round table is, and it looks like Meredith brings drug tests for everyone.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would do that if everybody was accusing me of doing drugs. I'd be like, will you take this too? We'll see if we're all on drugs. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm excited they put on that founding fathers stuff right in time for Ken Burns' The American Revolution.
It's true.
Their time.
I can't wait to finish that shit.
I can't wait either. I'm on episode 1. I keep, unfortunately, watching it right before I fall asleep. So I'm getting 5-minute increments, but I'm having the time of my life. Yeah, so, all right. Well, good job, Salt Lake City. I hope that we can, I hope that it changes. I hope that the foundation shakes a little bit on this thing, and we get some new stuff coming out of it. But a fun episode overall. 7 out of 10. Now, Amy and I don't know what else we've recapped this week. Potomac news. But now you and I officially, Turtle Time is coming to an end. I got to say, please, for the love of God, if you need more Turtle Time and you don't know what the hell to do with yourself, why not go over to our Patreon, the Turtle Time Patreon, and pay a certain amount of money, and then you get access to our Vanderpump Rules recap series. Or if you pay $10 a month, you get access to the Villa Rosa Film Society series we're doing, and we have on December 1st, the Family Stone episode, where you and I, oh my God, what we talk about on this episode. An hour and 20 minutes about Family Stone, one of the most underrated Christmas movies. So you can join and get that on December 1st and, just go nuts in there if you want.
Yeah, it's slay. We also, this coming Friday, alongside the Southern Charm new episode, we're talking about the thing that aired right after Salt Lake that maybe you also watched, of this Vanderpump Rules Raise Your Glass special. So if you were wondering if we were going to talk about that, we talked about it Friday. It was interesting. So tune in again there. We did not miss any Thanksgiving episodes. We keep it 100 around here. But yeah, Patreon for more, rate and review, buy some merch for Christmas. That's all.
That's it. All right. Goodbye. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Bye.
Bye.